Hey everybody, welcome back to my Aprilia Tuono RSV4 engine swap. On the last video, I removed the rest of the exhaust that was attached to the bike. I went through and I disconnected pretty much everything from the engine to the bike, as well as just anything that was in the way. I removed the ECU and the airbox and got that out of the way. I then mounted up an engine cradle and then removed all of the engine mounts. From there, I was able to lower the engine down and then raise the bike up to lift it over the engine itself and roll it out of the way. Alright, something about lifting with your back in a jerking, twisting motion here. Oh, this is gonna suck. Alright, you just rest there. Don't fall. Alright, I need to be a little bit more precise with this one. Ain't nothing to it, but to do it. Safety sandals. Give me a lift to the chest. There we go. The problem with grabbing there is that's where the engine stand goes. Wow, I think that used all of my strength. I don't know. I think I need to rethink this. Good news, Harbor Freight was having a sale on engine hoists. Let's see if this will actually fit with the airbox on. I'm curious. Okay. I guess that wasn't too bad leaving the airbox on. Just had to loosen it from the engine, pull it back so it could clear the wiring harness, but a little easier than taking the entire thing off and unpackaging all the wires and stuff. So I'll save us some time putting it back together. Alright, these get set to around 18.4 foot-pounds. So I pulled the front wheel off the front stand and lowered the engine down a bit. Now I can align the lower mount here so I can get that in. Okay, I think I've got it lined up. Just a bit of shimmying. There we go. So with the engine in position, everything lining up now, working on the left side, we're going to get all of the engine mounts in. And we're not going to go crazy torquing them up. We're just going to throw them in finger tight and then work on the other side. All right, and on the right side of the bike, we've got our other mounting bolts, and these two have spacers here, so don't forget those. Then the rear mount on this side has a little block that ends up on the back side, or a nut that ends up in a slot in the back side. All right, where's that slot at? Got it. Okay, so with all of the engine mounts installed, now there's a torquing sequence that starts on the left side and moves to the right side that is supposed to keep the engine in alignment. And it starts with the front two mounting bolts on the left side here. So let's get this torqued on, trying not to let the slider move around as I torque it. This is torqued to 36 foot-pounds or so. It's a little more than 36. Stop spinning! Okay. Rear upper mount, also to 36. 36.88, I think is what the manual says. On the right side of the bike again, and we're going to start with the alignment pin, or the lower mount, also 36 foot-pounds. 36.88. Click. And we move on to this upper bolt here, also 36.8. and then the front two mounts. we can finally get rid of our trusty engine stand here. Farewell. Alright, I'm under the bike again here. I'm gonna reattach our kickstand, which has a bunch of stuff strapped to it still. Put some thread lock on these bolts. Went with the red variety because I don't foresee this coming off for a long time. Forgot I got a neat new light for Christmas. And then these get torqued to 33 foot-pounds here. Alright, let's get our rear set back in place here. Got some blue Loctite on these bolts. These guys are around 18.5 foot-pounds. Alright, and then I need to route this line back through here. I cut the zip ties off the old bundle just to make this easier, but that passes back through there, and we can tie that up with the other lines that are going to go up through the frame. And I'm not going to put this on the spline yet because I believe that I had to take it off to get the cover on, so leave it hanging for now. Just get our chain back on our front sprocket. We'll torque that on before I get the front cover back on there. And get the chain guard in here. And there's also a breather that runs through here. Alright, we'll leave those little slack for now so we can tidy it up later. Let's see, we're going to hook our throttle position module back in place. Neat. Alright, weight goes up top here. Blue on the bottom. Let's get all of these lovely grounds attached here. Already got the starter wire started. Throw a nut on there. This thing is impossible to see. Alright, I think I can slide it back in the sheathing a little bit. So that we can attach. Alright, we're gonna get our ECU back in. There we go. Alright, here comes the fun job of putting the exhaust back in. Don't think you're gonna see anything because Honestly, I can't even see anything, but see if we can finagle these in there. I have to hold it while I get a bolt or a nut on there. Way up in there, Morty. All right, I got one on. All right, I'm gonna get the other pipe in and then bust out the wobble extensions. Alrighty, I got the rear set in place and just kind of loosely hanging there with this monstrosity of extensions and swivels, and then taping the nuts to the socket just to start them. Before I put the front runners on here, I'm going to pull off the oil filter because I need to do a, there's no oil in the engine right now, I don't think, but I need to do an oil change anyway. So pull this off, new filter, and before it gets nice and tight in here. Crush. Additionally, I think this rack is for the RSV4 fairings, which are not running, so I'm going to take this off. There's one on the other side as well. Let's get a couple exhaust gaskets in here. There we go. Nice. There we go. Alright, I managed to snug up all of the rear sections there with this crazily wobbly hinged contraption of a setup here. Nailed it. You go there. Okay. This one's going to be fun because I neglected to put it on beforehand, so there's not a ton of room here. Come on. Get in your hole. There we go. Finally picked up some crimp-on clamps, so I can use that for the oil lines here. Ooh. Well, I guess wrong. this is in the way of the coolant bottle. So we can probably flip this up a bit. See where we can put that and get the coolant bottle in line. I might have to flip it around. Let's see. Oh, that'll work. Slide it back a bit. Okay. And this guy goes back here. And that runs along the bracket that holds the oil cooler and radiator. A little bit of a leak check here with some distilled water. I'm also going to be running water wetter and distilled water since it might hit the track at some point. Alright, I think we're full up there. So as I was filling up the radiator, I started noticing some water here. Looks like we have a leak at the thermostat. I'm going to attempt to pull it out in place and replace it with the one from the other engine here. It's probably just a seal, but I've got the other one that was definitely not leaking, so we'll just toss that in there. I think I should be able to get it out. I just got to remove 3 connections. I might have to take this entire pipe out here because I don't know if I can get to the clamp back there, but let's get this out. There's no way I'm gonna get it on camera, so we'll come back and see if I get this out. So it turns out you can get the thermostat out of there, no problem. The biggest challenge was the original clamps here. They didn't squeeze enough for me to be able to get them around the tube, so I had to do some prying to get them off of the connections here. And it actually nicked my frame, which I'm super bummed about. But got that back in place, all buttoned up. Filled the reservoir, filled the radiator, so that's all set. Now I can put some oil in this thing. So the Tuono calls for 4 liters. I'm gonna put the 7100 10W40 that I have in almost all my other bikes. I believe the manual calls for 540, but I think Amari and a whole bunch of other members have said that 1040 perfectly fine. I'm racing in warm weather, so we're not getting cold at all. I'm gonna fill this up to the full mark, and once we start it, we'll top it off. Oh, right on my foot. Right on my foot. So let's click these together first. Just stick you in there. Nice. All right. I think that's on. All right, that's on. Let's get our battery hooked up and we can start to reprogram this girl. All right, battery is attached. All right, so I've got an up map here, and I'm going to try and use this to relearn the throttle position sensor. I believe that's what I have to do. Very vague. It was about a year ago that I actually talked to Amari about this. So I'm going to put a trickle charger on the battery because we're going to be messing with the engine map, potentially. And then I got to hook this guy up here. Power. Alright, green, nice. Alright. Now to the phone. Alrighty, let's see what we get when we get the key on. Trying to find the device right now. Connecting to it. Selected device is not available. But alright, it's a couple days later. I'm just updating the firmware. I had to transfer the UpMap account to my account from the previous owner, so an email to him and an email to Italy, and bam, it's under my name now. Super thankful that I was able to get a hold of him and get that transferred over. So from my understanding, I need to do the throttle position relearn, and that happens when you map the ECU. So I'm going to just remap the map that's already on there, and hopefully that takes care of it. Then we'll try and give it a start. All right, so I haven't flashed a map yet, but I'm just gonna see if the bike will start and if I get any codes. Just gonna give it a start without anything mucked with. A little smoke coming off. It's probably just from touching all the headers and any residual whatever was in the engine. Alright, so I'm installing the new map right now. See the ECU connection there. 33% done. We'll see how that does when we restart the bike. Alright, with the bike running, I'm going to go ahead and get these tires swapped out. These were commuter tires, and the rear is actually just completely flattened. So I got some nice new Bridgestones we're going to toss on. And to do that, we first got to pull off our calipers here. Alright, now I can get these sliders off here. Ooh, that's on there tight. Alright, then we can take our pinch bolts off here. Or loosen them at least. Alright, take a little hammer and pop the, oh, don't even need a hammer. Just gotta slide right out. Nice. I already loosened up the rear, so this should be super fast. That off. Chain off. Wow, this carbon fiber hugger is real tight. Or this chain guard. super tight to the I don't think this would do anything. Alright, I got the new shoes mounted up. Went with the Bridgestone battle axes. Get this right installed. The pinch bolts are 8.8 foot-pounds here. And the bolt here gets tightened down to 59 foot-pounds. And I can put my axle sliders back in. Time to get those calipers back on. Alrighty, these guys get torqued to 36.88 foot-pounds. I don't like how that feels. That feels like it's too tight. It does feel too tight. I just, no, I think that's as tight as they're going. It's one of those things, you start feeling it and it feels like it's stretching almost. Let's try the other side. Before I hit the track, what I'll do is I'll pull them off and I'll safety wire them. I don't know when I'm going to be taking this thing to the track though, so we'll leave that for another day. Let's see how these feel. Going 36.8. Yeah, see, that felt right. The other ones did not feel, I think they went past. Or they were stretching. See, this one's starting to feel a little, I don't know. Wasn't a fan of that. I'm looking replacing these probably. This is a meaty tire. Chains on. There we go. Don't you drop. Don't you drop on me. Okay. Why are you fighting me so much here? There we go. Spin that around. All right, this nut is 88.5 foot-pounds. That was a loud click. Alright, I put the bike on the ground so I could finally torque the sprocket on here, and it's 36.8. Oh, now I gotta look it up again. Yeah, 36.8. Slipping the back wheel. You're actually slipping the wheel back. That's funny. There we go. A little bit of persistence. And we can finally hook up our shifter again. Oop. There we go. I think it's probably about that angle or so. I'll have to sit on it to adjust. Actually, I'm going to put some, well, I'll figure out where I want it to be, and then I'll put some Loctite on it. It's the last thing I want to lose. Snake this in there. Ooh, that pinched me real good. Alright, nice. Got a side panel on. Sure. There we go. I think that has to actually go into the radiator shroud. This does totally go into the radiator shroud, so take that off again. I think we gotta do some gymnastics with this guy. Yes. Getting caught up on the horn. Okay, now I can put this panel on. Oops. Oh, that was dumb. I had my finger behind the grommet, and when the post came through, it just slammed me right in the finger. That was a good idea. Here's one. Why is everything hurting me today? Ice cream is here. Don't you move, Clip. Don't you do it. I just live on the ground now. It's my home. Awesome. That's all of the fairings on. Alright, got the seat on here. And then the final piece of this project, the tail. She's done. So with the engine swap complete, I want to take it out for a spin, give it a good shakedown, and luckily there's a canyon right by me, so I can do a quick canyon run, shakedown, and see how she does. other side of the canyon, I definitely needed some gas. Pulled up to this light, and then I sat here. I sat here for 2 cycles, unfortunately, until a truck pulled up behind me. By the time the light turned green, the check engine light was on, and the temperature was skyrocketing. I think it was up to like 230, 240, something like that. Figured we'd be okay. Pull in, get some gas, and give it a look over right here. While I was filling it up, I noticed the dreaded puddle forming under the bike.
Oh, that's not good.
After a little inspection, it did look like I spit up some coolant, but I figured if I could get moving again, it'd be okay. Less than a mile away, I had to pull over. The check engine light was back on, and it was up to like 240, 245. So parked the bike, and as soon as I did, clouds coming out underneath. The neighbors in this neighborhood were super nice. They came up to check on me, asked if I needed anything, and gave me some water for when the bike cooled down. I topped up the radiator, and then I limped the bike home. It took a good 3 hours to get home. I had to ride about 2 miles, park it, wait for it to cool down, and then ride another 2 miles. So the overheating issue is a problem for another day, but at least at this point, engine swap is complete. I'm pretty happy with that. So thanks for hanging out with me in the garage. I'll see you on the next one.